30 years since the assassination of SACP Secretary Chris Hani. Now, the Communist Party is pressing on with its calls for a new inquest into his killing. The struggle stalwart was shot dead at his home in Boksburg, Gauteng in 1993. Right-wingers Clive Derby-Lewis and Janus Valush were arrested for the murder. Hani, the man many say would have been the country's first democratic president, is being remembered today, and eNCA's Manqoba Mchunu is attending the event in Germiston. Manqoba, of course, we heard earlier from Chris Hani's wife, Dimpo. She was, of course, very emotional, as always, as speaking about her late husband. What can you tell us that she had to say early on?
Well, there's a lot of things that Dimpo Hani had to say here at this particular gathering. Of course, remembering the 30 years since the gunning down of her husband, Chris Hani. Of course, she was quite scathing against the parole that was granted against the Polish immigrant Janusz Walusz, who we know was released in December, saying that this was tantamount to her husband's double murder. The fact that he was released on parole by the Constitutional Court. Of course, we recall that this matter was before the Constitutional Court, and ultimately it ordered the Department of Justice to release him within 10 days. And Dimpo Hani saying that this was a diabolical decision by the court, that it took such a decision, but she was equally scathing against the Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, saying that what Raymond Zondo had done was to re-traumatize the family, and saying that the decision that he had taken, he had of course not considered the family when taking this decision. There is a letter that was spoken about that Janusz Walusz was said to have sent to the family, but Dimpo Hani is saying that she has never received such a letter. And in fact, she says that the fact that Zondo had taken this decision is proof that in fact this was another victimization and re-traumatization of the family by that decision that was taken, and saying that it really shows that he has little consideration for the feelings that the family had gone through by supporting or by taking this decision to grant Janusz Walusz parole, and of course saying that the democracy or the democratic government of the country has betrayed Chris Hani essentially by also allowing that his killers be released. But let's take a listen to what she exactly had to say on this particular issue.
To hear from Judge Zondo that Tambo is turning in his grave. Zondo does not know Tambo. We know Tambo. He's our leader. He's not Zondo's leader. He can't talk for Tambo. We can talk for Tambo as ANC members, but not Zondo. Tambo turned on his grave the day Zondo released Chris Hani's killer. A Chief Justice is not a Chief Induna or Chief whatever, I don't know. I've heard of Chief Indunas, Chief Mabalani, they both apply. A Chief Justice is not Chief Mabalani, neither is he Chief Induna. Of all spheres of government, there are 3 spheres of government. So, my personal view is that Zondo thinks Chief Induna, or Justice, Abe government, Abe parliament. Really? What happened to 3 spheres of government? I want to leave it there. It's your homework.
Well, Manqoba, of course, we also heard earlier that the SAPC, they said they will push for another inquest into Chris Hani's murder. Solimapile also said that they've already garnered about 20,000 signatures for this.
Certainly, and of course you recall that this is not the first time that the SACP is making such a call. Of course, they are saying that they're going to continue to ask for that inquest to be started, and they want to find out the truth really about what happened and what led to Chris Hani's killers. They're saying that, even though there have been, processes like the Truth and Reconciliation process, those do not provide any sort of answers as far as this is concerned, and they want this matter to be put to bed once and for all, and they believe that this is what this inquest will do. Of course, the party is saying that they've already started a petition, an online petition, to try and force government's hand to look into this issue of an inquest. They are hoping to have about 30,000 of those signatures, and therefore after that they are hoping to take it to the Minister of Correctional Services. But the SACP also saying that they just don't understand the reason why this inquest has not been followed through. Their request for an inquest have not been followed through, given that this is the ANC government that is in power, who are part of the tripartite alliance that all of those formations are under, and so they would have thought that by now the ANC would have supported those calls for that inquest to be held. And of course, during his address here, he says that they are going to be making sure that they try their level best to force government to have this particular inquest, so that they know once and for all the reason why this murder or assassination had taken place back in 1993. But take a listen to what Solima Paile had to say in particular about that.
We have launched a petition. Austin spoke about this question very well. We have launched now, we were forced to go on an online petition because this is part of the reason. How dare, for instance, a revolutionary movement that lost one of its finest sit down, have nothing to do with this matter? We have placed it on the table of every single minister of justice. We have done everything possible. So there's no respect in the alliance if things continue this way. We say inquest, no inquest. Inquest, no inquest. We have to go on an online petition because now we're prepared to take action against the minister, to take the minister to court if he can't implement this inquest on the basis of online petition. Now we've gathered many thousand signatures. We want you to continue to join these signatures so that when we present them to the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, there could be no dilly-dallying. We want this inquest. We want the truth of who murdered and assassinated our General Secretary.
Of course, Manqoba, you are in Boksburg at the moment. What's the schedule for the rest of the day? Have we heard all the speeches, and is everything wrapping up at this point?
Well, certainly we have heard all the speeches. In fact, we were expecting the Deputy President of the ANC to also deliver a keynote address. He was not here, but however, the Minister of Arts and Culture delivered a message on behalf of government. And of course, we've heard from also some of the tripartite alliance, including the ANC, Nomvula Mokonyane, also taking the podium, speaking about strengthening the alliance itself. Of course, there have been issues as far as that is concerned, the cracks within the alliance, with the SACP even threatening to go at it alone at the polls in 2024. And of course, what we heard are calls for unity within the tripartite alliance, and also the reconfiguration of the tripartite alliance itself, so that it speaks as one and that it acts as one as far as some of the key decision-making processes are concerned, because this is one of the issues that the SACP has been raising as far as the issues with the ANC, saying that they feel that they're not involved in some of those key decisions by the tripartite alliance. We also heard from Kosatu speaking about strengthening the alliance, but also importantly from some other comrades as well as other political parties that are here who also took to the podium. The program has wrapped up for now, and of course we know that following this there will be other events that will be taking place, a lecture that will be taking place, but that will only take place at a later stage this month. But as far as the program here is concerned, that has now wrapped up. We also saw earlier on the wreath-laying ceremony that had taken place here, and of course calls continuing for that particular inquest to take place to find out the truth about what really happened to Chris Hani.
Thanks a lot. Our reporter, Manqoba Mchunu, of course, just giving us an update there from Boksburg. Chris Hani, of course, it's 30 years that we are commemorating the 30th anniversary of his death. The anti-apartheid activists, of course, killed by Polish immigrant Janusz Waluś in 1993.